Hi guys, welcome back to another Daily Tarot card. These are your Daily Tarot cards for Friday, October 21st, 2022. Today we're pulling from the Shining Woman Tarot cards. So this is on a deeper level, and I feel like this is talking about, and I know someone specifically that is going through a major, um, I guess, awakening, if you will. Um, so I feel like in that way. So they're saying it's very the hermit card where they say showing the light of the situation, changing our perspective. They're showing the hangman, so changing, releasing what is to constraint us. So maybe we're looking with blinders on a situation, we're taking those off and seeing a wider perspective. So seeing it from a higher point of view, maybe putting yourself in someone's shoes. Um, Gift of Rivers talks about making this decision. I feel like a crossroads here. Somehow they're tied together because we have this bowl here. So they're saying with the bowl it's tying things together. We just came out of Shinchat Torah, so we just came out of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Shekhaut, and then Shinchat Torah. So it's just like all these high holidays. So I feel like Yeshua. I definitely feel like when I got my shawl and has a prayer across the crown chakra, it's like elevation, leveling up in a certain way. And I feel like, because you're gaining knowledge on a deeper level, but it's like anything that you do and you put your heart and soul into it and you put the time and dedication and want to learn and open yourself up to those things because you're excited about it, you're thirsty to know more about it, you will open yourself up to more to knowledge and wisdom in certain situations. um, they were talking about we have two hummingbirds here. So birds of the air are messengers of messages. So owls are major, crows are minor. Hummingbirds, I feel like this is like signs, or I feel like in this case, hearing. You know what I mean? They're talking about how with birds they're on this higher level, which makes sense because they're birds of the air. But they're saying they're guided by this force, which is the wind, this invisible force. So it's like we're guided by, because our eyes have transformed to see our loved ones all the time. I feel like, we see them, we get glimpses of them. It feels like you're kind of, with me, I would say like you're in a daydream state. You know what I mean? So it's just like when you go to the other side of things, and I definitely feel like, when they're talking about traveling, when I read the definition of the card, you'll understand what I'm talking about. They're like traveling. And I feel like when I read for people, and there was someone significant, I'm going to actually message her after this recording. Um, I did a reading for her, and I don't know why they're bringing up specifically her. Maybe she's going through her own awakening. They were showing me, they showed me back to when she was a child, and they were showing her dinner table, and the seating of everyone was very significant to her. So I feel like it's building that trust. I feel like when you are a healer and you're doing readings for others and you sit there and you talk about a specific situation that's only unique to that individual, that trust comes in more, because they're just like, no one would know that unless you were sitting at that table. No one would know that unless you were part of the family. You know what I mean? So I feel like they were showing in that way. That's how, like, we talk about time travel, and it's just like when you're a healer, they show certain events when you were young, when, in the future, at this moment, what you're going. Usually with me, it starts on what's going on right now. Then sometimes if loved ones want to step forward, you know what I mean? They'll step forward and they'll start talking about things in the past, things that are going to happen in the future. You know what I mean? And then as they get deeper into the reading, it's like more and more of the future stuff happens. You know what I mean? So it's that where I feel like that bird's perspective. And I feel like it's like freeing your mind. You know what I mean? Don't live so close minded that, it's supposed to happen. I feel like building that trust. With me, it was like telling me certain things. I think it was like 2 weeks before Shane passed. I went to apply for a job because I got my business license, and I'm like, I'll do this and that, so that way it's generating income, and I'm able to do that on a more my business on a full time basis more, or in between, because it's I had clientele, but it was very word of mouth still. And it was just like, that way I don't have to worry about, X, Y, and Z. When you raise kids, you always worry about stuff. So I went there, I kid you not. I filled out the application. The manager saw me handing in my resume, and she came over. And something told me, your children need you right now. And I was just like, what in the heck? And I was just like, okay. And I just like bolted it out of there. You know what I mean? I rushed all the way home, and I got in and I'm like, is everyone okay? Shane's like, yep, everyone's fine. And I told him what happened, and he goes, no, everything's fine. And that's what happened, you know? And it's like, it's unfortunate. They had shown me if he had survived, that, it's still, I feel like it was his diet because they always show food. They were showing like street hot dogs. So like, when you go to the vendors that have the hot dog sausages and whatnot, they were showing that. So I'm not sure if that's something that he overindulged in. Like I know he ate it. Just don't know to what level. And I know like high cholesterol, heart disease runs in the family. So um, it's unfortunate, but when they shared that tidbit with me, I was just like, okay, you know, because you do have that survivor's guilt. Like, if I would have done this different, if I would have done this different, but it's like, that onus isn't on ourselves, especially when there's other things that contributed to it. It's like, we're grown ass people. We make those decisions. It's like, it's unfortunate, you know, but it's just like, at the end of the day, we're all adults, we're all human. We make conscious choices of what we do every day. Unfortunately, we got to live with those choices. Even though you transform, I feel like you're still living. It's just in a different form. But it's just like that's something you got to understand. Like if you hadn't done X, Y, and Z, then it wouldn't have led to this. So what can you do? I feel like the five of trees. I feel like change. They were definitely talking about morale with the gift of leaders, or gift of birds, excuse me. So I feel like it's kind of like, where's the excitement? You know what I mean? Especially in Canada, it's like we have Veterans Day, you know what I mean? And then it starts, like we have Halloween coming up, you know what I mean? We have Veterans Day. But then it's kind of like that in between time before Christmas starts. But I feel like it's like, do those things that make you happy. Movie nights, game boards, maybe you're doing our project all together. Like, what can you do to make things happy? They're showing like snowmobiling, as a family. So it's just like, it's what you make of it. We're waiting for things to happen in our life, and it's just kind of like, appreciate where you are. Because I remember, and even the boys remember that, where it's just like feeling that insecurity of like, where are we? You know what I mean? And I was like, I would see people post like how they're bored. And I'm like, oh, to be bored again. You know what I mean? Because we were, life was not very much not boring. You know what I mean? So it's like you're sitting on pins and needles, So it's just like, enjoy. It's like, how can we fill that time with things that we love? Watching movies, playing video games, art projects, playing cards, whatever it is, like, whatever you do that brings, you know what I mean? That brings that fun and laughter into the home. You know what I mean? It's just like, what do you make of it? This is what they were talking about, that rest and rejuvenation before you pick up the sword again. We have the speaker of birds, so we're getting a lot of birds, and it's just like, I feel like, again, this is where those channeled clear audience messages come in. But if you think about tikis and you look at that mask, that was from long ago. So I feel like ancient wisdom. So I feel like in some ways, maybe you will level up if you already are someone that's woke to that level. And it's like you will ascend to a new level. And again, it's like whatever you put into it. The more you put into it, like with us, when we started the Hebrew faith, I started reading the Torah, and then I learned about high holidays. And I was just like, oh, and they're like, well, practice first keeping the Sabbath. And I'm like, okay. And it's very significant. They're like, start with the Sabbath first. So every single Friday, you do the Shabbat, you do the Kiddush, you do all the prayers. It's kind of like a family dinner for anyone that is Catholic or Christian on a Sunday. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can we reunite? It's a nice day to ground ourselves as a family, have a nice meal, and talk about the week, and do something fun together. We usually play video games or watch movies or whatever it is. So it's just like, what fun things can we do together? You know, it's a time to sit down, relax, put our feet up, and put like that 24 hours is time just for yourself. Time, me, I usually, do my toenails. I usually, do my nails, facials, hair, kids' hair, like, dog's hair, like, who needs a trim in, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a self care day, you know what I mean? So, like, do we sleep in, all that good stuff. So it's like a health care day, So I feel like with this, it's just like, maybe with this time where that void is in, maybe this is where you're going to be woke. It's just like, yeah, this is usually, maybe you get triggered by seasonal depression or something. And this is where it's like you get woke in this time. So starting with the gift of rivers, so with the Y, I feel like a crossroad. We have the rose on one side, so I can feel like it's love, but we also have the snake on the other side. So I feel like this crossroad, but I definitely again with the Y, but they're saying there's something that ties this together. Maybe it's a double-edged sword here. Maybe they're showing a woman with a fish head here, so Pisces. So maybe this is for someone that is attracted to a feminine energy that has Pisces energy. Maybe they're very sensitive. You know what I mean? And it's like at a crossroads here, but it's somehow tied together, or somehow you all come together. This could be a three. We were definitely talking about threes, triangles, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, you know, but I feel like, I feel like if this is, we were talking about love for a bit here. We've been talking about love since January 24th, and that's one thing they talked about. Um, so they're talking about happiness, abundance, love, different aspects of life flowing together. So I feel like, you definitely get that where they were running solo, and now they're coming together with this bowl, you know? Things are finally running together. So this could be, you know, you're on one path, the other person was on the other path, and now you guys are meant to be together. You're finally able to run together and fill each other's cups. When we talk about the Ace of Cups, we talk about that they're showing the Two of Cups, they're showing the lovers. You know what I mean? So the Two of Cups, it's like two cups become one. If you think about traditional ceremonies, you each have pour your cup into one single cup because now it's, two become one. So that's what it could be, that you're running on one path, they're running on another, or streams as they're using here, and now you're ready to be together. You're ready to be united. So we go to the gift of birds. So they're saying traditionally that symbolizes the swords in the deck of a tarot deck. So cutting through confusion, conflict, emotional pain, you know, and it makes sense with the five of trees there, where it's that I feel like seasonal depression, that they're wanting to awaken us to. I apologize for the angle. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's the full moon. I feel like the full moon in November represents danger because it invites us to dance freely and widely. It shakes us loose from all the rules we've learned. It liberates us from self, confusion, and fear. It allows us to become birds, if not in flight, then in song, passion, wildness, liberation, music, abandon, outpouring of ideas. So maybe this is where things get quiet around you. So work is quiet, life is quiet, learn to be grateful for that peace, because we know how much, and I can attest to this, how much I cry, and you guys can attest to this, where it's like, for example, all of a sudden this gentleman was in the house saying that he had to do a test for rayon, and he went in the basement, and a test ended up being construction. He said he had to cut out this board. I said, okay, go ahead. I said, this is the time I start work. He's like, okay. He was in my house till 10:30 at night. And I'm like, it ended up being a whole installation of a system, testings for 3 weeks. And it's just like, you're sitting there trying to balance life, and it's hard to when you have people in and out. You know what I mean? So I feel like when life is sweet like this, it's like, appreciate it. Appreciate the void. Appreciate the slowdown, because things are going to pick up again. So just appreciate this time now. So 10 of birds. So 10. So we definitely got with the world card where that something's coming to a conclusion here. It could be the cycle of the season. Looking outside, it's like seeing the beautiful colors of the trees, but now the rain has been here, the wind has been here, so it's like now the trees are getting more and more down to the bones of what it is to the tree. It's going for its rest, so the trees are going to start absorbing all this water in its trunk so it can get all the nutrients it needs during the winter. So it's going down to the bare bones. It's sad for us to see the beautiful leaves leave, because it's just like now we're going into the colder months, into the winter. But it's like there is beauty in the winter. If you sit there and go on a beautiful blue sky winter day and you look outside and you see the sun dancing on the snow, or when it's like that little crunchy layer of ice or on top of the snow, and just how the sun dances on top of it, it's just beautiful. You're able to see more animals. The animals are more vibrant in the snow, so there's beauty in there. You know, I'm not a fan of the cold, but I can sit there and observe it from the inside. I can appreciate taking a lawn chair and sitting in the warm sun, and just absorbing that sunshine for that moment, for those hours. So you see with the middle card there at the Ten of Birds, it looks like, we go back to Egyptian hieroglyphics, and it looks like a hummingbird, you know? Definitely love that. A time of our lives we need to perform the trick of looking at our situation as if from high above. If we can lift off the ground of our experiences and see the details as a whole, we may discover a composition, a perfect creation, invisible from close up, but seen clearly with the eyes of the bird. So higher up, looking down, changing our perspective. The combination of elements by Deborah Silverman teaches us that to sit there and remove ourselves out of the situation, remove the emotions out of the situation, and actually see it for as it is. How many fights are based out of emotion? You insulted me. This started all the way back when you insulted me, and now it's just snowballed into this. I'm still in my feelings when you insulted me. It has nothing to do with where it is now, and now it's this big blowout. What do they tell you when you go at any job? Leave your personal emotions at the door. This is work. This is a drama-free zone. Shut the F up and do your job, right? You're here to do a job. We don't care about what's going on at home. And it's true. They don't care what's going on at home. They don't care what you're emotionally going through. They only want you there to do the job because it makes them money. Period. You know what I mean? So it's just like, with this, it's just like, sitting there and it's like, what is this based on? Is this actually a problem? Is this coming from a place of emotion? Detachment, taking a high view, seeing the whole rather than individual details. Sometimes we think we know situations. Oh, gossip, this and that, talking, oh, this. And it's like, well, at the end of the day, the way that I see it, it's like, it's none of my business. If they wanted me to know it, I would know it. If they wanted help, they would tell me, I don't know how many people I've reached out to when I see like they make a post or something and I'm like, hey, I'm here. Don't worry, I got you. You know what I mean? Because I know how it feels to go through that situation alone. It ain't fun. I wasn't alone though. God got me through it. Tribal trails, mass for shut-ins. It got me through it. The Torah, it just spoke to me in such a way. Tarot cards, I definitely feel like tarot cards definitely filled my life when I needed it to be filled. And it still does. And I'm grateful for all the friendships that I made through this, all the connections, the growth, and I cannot wait to see how this flourishes when the time is right. I'm getting tastes of it, and it's just, I cannot wait to see the other side of things. So 5 of trees. The building seems ordinary, but the doors are black, opening to hidden mysteries. We see no people in the streets, only wild animals. Drawn abstract, a creation of the unconscious, set loose our outer world. Inner meanings. things going on under the surface, withdrawal, especially of nature and secret self. Allow people to see certain parts of ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, they're showing my friend Chris. I don't feel like it was his alter ego, honestly, but he was definitely confident when he was on the stage. You know what I mean? He definitely loved the attention that he got. We would always go to every single battle of the bands that he had. We would sell tickets. We would cheer him on. We would support his band. They became friends, like, the crossover of friends. He was always that type of person that would make friends no matter where he went. He very much a social butterfly. He would have high school friends, coffee shop friends, band friends, like anywhere he went, when he worked at the bars and the restaurants, friends. Like, he always had these cluster of friends. Sometimes they would blend with each other, and sometimes, they would just be the way that they were. But, they're showing how, like, with him being on that stage, how, very confident. You know what I mean? I felt like he was confident as well, but I've also seen him vulnerable. But I definitely felt like he carried himself that way when we were in school, But I always seen him as that force. So speaker of birds. So this is where I feel like, I feel like hiding yourself. Maybe you are a healer and you hide yourself in that way. Hide it from the world. So maybe, only a choice of people know who you are. And now you're ready to open up to yourself, to the world. This is who I am. Yeah, it does come with backlash. You do lose friends and family members because they think you're full of poop. You know what I mean? They don't, you're dancing with the devil, is what they're saying. They're going to have their opinion. We have one life to live. If you have been chosen to have your ability be stronger and help others, that's your purpose, then let it be. I guarantee you those people will come back around. Oh, well, I didn't think that, this was something. I just thought it was another endeavor that you were touching into, or I didn't think it was anything real, or then they'll ask you for a reading. You know what I mean? So birds give authority because they speak, because they travel in the empty air. Allow the wind, the invisible force of the goddess's inevitable body, compared to her visible body, the earth. So Gaia is right there. We too have invisible bodies. Of our minds travel to the stars, to the deep waters, to the many worlds of stories, communicating from our deepest truth. Yep. Sharing ideas, information with the sense of inner authority. So exactly like I was talking about, when you speak from any healer that sits there and talks to someone, and speaking of that one person, where they were talking about, showing me the dining table, where they would sit, they would eat certain meals, and where the sitting positions were was significant to her. You know what I mean? So for me to see that, I'm not her dad, I'm not her mom, I'm not her sister. I'm essentially a stranger, and I'm able to see that. So you're traveling in that sense, speaking your truth. You know what I mean? Being vulnerable and speaking your truth. You know what I mean? So I feel like, for some of you, this could be coming awakening on that side. I feel like for some of you, this is coming out like you have this ability. You've been hiding behind some name that you've come up with, or like light. They're showing me someone that I really admire. And I definitely know that she will be a phenomenal healer if she allows herself to be, and it's just like, coming out, and this is speaking her truth. This is who I am. This is what I do, and speak coming from her truth. You know what I mean? She has to only get out of her own way, have the confidence in herself that she's capable and able to do this. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel like, when I got my shawl, the shawl that you wear when you go to the synagogue, I definitely felt like my clairaudience uh ascension. You know what I mean? So it's just like what you put into it. When I started with the Torah, I just started reading the Torah. As I evolved, it's like, okay, there's, we the first holiday that came up on the Jewish calendar when we started participating in the high holidays was Hanukkah. We don't do the present part, we just do the spiritual side of things because my kids still celebrate Christmas. So it's just like we did the spiritual side of things, lighting of the candle, what it represents, that this darkness becomes this big bright light. And it's just like anything that you do. It starts with an idea, which is a light bulb, and watch how bright that light becomes. Don't allow anyone to snuff out your light. Just because you're afraid of their opinions or what they'll say, do not sit there and snuff out your light because you're making yourself small for them to shine big. A lot of times people do that for their insecurities. They will sit there and try to dim your light or throwing a blanket over this light so it's invisible, so people can't see that you're more than what everybody thought you were. So just because they can't see it doesn't mean the world can't see it. Definitely stand in your truth. Definitely be who you are. Let your light shine. If it's not for them, it's for others. Some people are put in our life. They're put in our life. Are they meant to be there? Maybe for a time. But you keep growing and you will come across a lot of interesting people along the way. It will teach you many life lessons. Some for a moment, some for a lifetime. Some is a soul connection. It's always been there. You know? So I definitely feel like if you're going through something, change your perspective. Take the emotions out of the situation. I feel like for some of you, maybe you're an emotional creature and you're ready for these two paths to be one. You're ready to be with your soulmate, as they've been saying. They've been saying that so much this year. You are now ready to be with your soulmate. You know what I mean? I definitely feel like we live many chapters in our life. Some of us live more than others. And I feel like, I could definitely feel like with that journey, that chapter with Shane, it's like that was something significant. There was definitely a deep connection there. But, unfortunately, going to the private sector, his shadow side evolved into something I didn't like. I didn't care for. But, nevertheless, it was what it was, So who knows? Is that something that's going to be a part of me? I definitely see, where spirit is like someone that will understand and respect who I am with my spiritual journey, someone that will pray with me. That would be nice, like Beth Chapman says, the family that prays together stays together. So, I'm excited, but it's just like at the same time, it's just like, like they said, fill up that void of course time. Be grateful for this quiet time. Recharge your battery. Find the light in your life. Find the joy in your life. Don't allow it to be determined or diminished because someone can't enjoy that moment. Do what makes you happy. So I hope you guys enjoyed these daily tarot cards for Friday, October 21st, 2022. May the universe bless you good. We'll see you for the next daily tarot card. Bye.